Hello brothers, and welcome to Sigma Grandpa channel. The habits that build an extraordinary man are usually the very habits ordinary people laugh at first, until those same habits leave them far behind. Most men spend their lives trying to fit into a world that rewards looking busy, sounding confident, and following the crowd. But every once in a while, someone appears who plays by a completely different set of rules. He doesn't look extraordinary at first. In fact, many people mistake him for being quiet, strange, or even boring. That is exactly why they never see him coming. Here's something fascinating. Psychologists have long observed that the highest performers in many fields often develop routines and mental patterns that seem odd, even unnecessary to everyone else. What looks unusual on the surface is often the very thing producing uncommon results underneath. Now, before anyone says, "Great, another video telling me to wake up at 4 a.m. and meditate on top of a mountain," don't worry, that's not where we're going. Nobody's asking you to hug trees, survive on black coffee, or communicate with eagles. Today, we're diving into the rare habits that separate Sigma males from ordinary men, not the recycled internet clichés you've heard 1,000 times, but the hidden behaviors almost nobody notices. Some of these habits seem insignificant until you realize they quietly change how people think, how opportunities appear, and how life unfolds over time. By the end of this video, you may discover that the biggest difference between ordinary men and Sigma males isn't talent, money, or luck. It's a collection of small habits that most people either ignore, misunderstand, or simply don't have the discipline to copy. Stay with me, because once you understand these habits, you'll never look at quiet strength the same way again. Number 1, he lets people misjudge him on purpose. One of the strangest habits of a Sigma male is that he doesn't feel the need to correct every wrong opinion people have about him. While most people rush to explain themselves the moment they're misunderstood, he does the opposite. He stays quiet, not because he can't defend himself, but because he knows something most people don't. People who are determined to misunderstand you usually aren't looking for the truth. They're looking for confirmation of what they've already decided. A Sigma male understands that constantly explaining yourself becomes exhausting. It also gives other people too much control over your peace of mind. If someone has already made up their mind without knowing the full story, no perfect explanation will suddenly change them. Time usually does a better job than arguments ever could. This doesn't mean he enjoys being judged unfairly. It simply means he chooses where his energy goes. He would rather spend that energy improving his life than trying to repair an image inside someone else's head. Ironically, this habit often confuses people. The more they expect him to react, defend himself, or chase their approval, the calmer he becomes. That calmness forces people to question their own assumptions. Over time, many eventually realize they judged him too quickly. Number 2, he never rushes to finish awkward silence. Most people treat silence like an emergency. The moment a conversation slows down, they feel pressured to fill the gap with random words, nervous laughter, or unnecessary explanations. A Sigma male doesn't. He understands that silence isn't empty. It has a way of exposing things that words often hide. When people are uncomfortable with silence, they usually reveal something about themselves. Some begin talking too much and accidentally share more than they intended. Others become restless, desperate for approval, or eager to impress. A Sigma male notices these reactions because they reveal a person's confidence, patience, and emotional control far better than a rehearsed conversation ever could. This habit isn't about trying to intimidate anyone or make people feel uneasy. It's about being comfortable enough with yourself that you don't need constant noise to feel secure. He knows that meaningful conversations don't have to move at full speed. Sometimes the strongest statement is the one that isn't spoken at all. There's another reason he values silence. It gives him time to think before responding. Instead of reacting emotionally or blurting out the first thing that comes to mind, he chooses his words carefully. That alone helps him avoid countless misunderstandings and regrets. Ironically, people often mistake his quiet nature for weakness or shyness at first. Then they realize something unexpected. While everyone else was busy talking, he was paying attention. He noticed the details others missed, remembered what everyone said, and understood the room better than those trying hardest to control it. That's the quiet advantage of someone who knows that silence isn't something to fear. It's something to use wisely. Number 3, he quietly studies people's recovery after failure. Most people are impressed by success. A Sigma male is far more interested in what happens after everything falls apart. Anyone can look confident when life is going their way. The real test begins when plans collapse, mistakes become public, or disappointment hits hard. He pays close attention to how people respond in those moments. Does someone blame everyone else, or do they take responsibility? Do they disappear when life gets difficult, or do they quietly rebuild without making excuses? Those answers tell him far more than a long list of achievements ever could. Failure has a strange way of removing masks. Pride gets tested, patience gets tested, integrity gets tested. It's easy to talk about strength when nothing is going wrong. It's much harder to stay honest, respectful, and determined when life refuses to cooperate. This is why a Sigma male doesn't rush to admire people who seem successful on the surface. Titles, money, popularity, and praise can all disappear overnight. Character usually doesn't. He knows that a person who has learned to recover from failure often becomes wiser than someone who has never faced it. He also applies this standard to himself. Instead of asking, "Did I fail?" he asks, "What did this teach me that success never could?" That simple shift changes everything. Every setback becomes information instead of humiliation. Number 4, he watches what people ignore. Most people notice what is loud, obvious, and impossible to miss. A Sigma male is interested in the things everyone else overlooks. He has learned that the smallest details often reveal the biggest truths. While others are focused on the person speaking the loudest, he's paying attention to the one who hasn't said a word. While everyone is celebrating the final result, he's looking at the effort that made it possible. He notices who gets interrupted, who gets ignored, who quietly does the work without asking for credit, and who only shows up when there's something to gain. This habit gives him an advantage because people rarely hide the things they don't think anyone is watching. Respect, kindness, selfishness, jealousy, and honesty often appear in ordinary moments, not dramatic ones. A careless comment, a forgotten promise, or the way someone treats a person with nothing to offer can reveal more than hours of polished conversation. A Sigma male understands that life whispers before it shouts. Problems usually leave small clues long before they become disasters. Great opportunities often begin as unnoticed moments that everyone else dismisses. That's why he refuses to let the crowd decide what deserves his attention. He trusts his own observations instead. While others chase distractions, he collects details. Over time, those overlooked details form a picture that most people never see until it's too late. His greatest strength isn't seeing more than everyone else. It's seeing what everyone else chooses not to see. Number 5, he rarely gives his best idea first. One habit that catches people off guard is that a Sigma male rarely reveals his strongest idea the moment a conversation begins. It isn't because he lacks confidence or is playing games. It's because he understands that not everyone deserves immediate access to his best thinking. He has learned that many people don't listen to understand. They listen to interrupt, criticize, or compete. So instead of placing his most valuable thoughts on the table right away, he watches how others respond to a simple idea first. Are they curious? Do they ask thoughtful questions? Can they disagree respectfully? Or are they only interested in proving themselves right? That first exchange tells him whether the conversation is worth investing in. He also knows that the first person to speak isn't always the one who shapes the outcome. While everyone else is rushing to be heard, he gathers information. He listens carefully, spots the gaps in everyone's thinking, and waits until his words can actually make a difference. When he finally shares his best idea, it often carries more weight because it isn't buried under endless talking. People remember it because it solves a problem instead of adding more noise. A Sigma male believes that wisdom isn't about saying everything you know. It's about knowing the right moment to speak. He understands that timing can make an ordinary idea powerful, while poor timing can make even a brilliant one completely disappear. Number 6, he notices who changes around different people. A Sigma male pays close attention to something most people completely miss: how someone behaves when the company changes. He knows that character isn't revealed when life is comfortable or when everyone is equal. It's revealed when power, status, or popularity enter the room. He notices the person who speaks kindly to friends but becomes rude to a waiter. He notices the co-worker who acts confident with beginners but suddenly becomes quiet around successful people. He notices the friend who laughs with you in private but pretends not to know you in front of a different crowd. These aren't small personality changes to him. They're clues. To a Sigma male, consistency is one of the rarest qualities a person can have. Anyone can be polite when it benefits them. Anyone can appear humble when people are watching. The real question is whether they remain the same person regardless of who's standing in front of them. This habit helps him avoid disappointment. He doesn't judge people by the version they carefully present. He watches the versions they accidentally reveal in different situations. Those versions are usually far more honest. That's why he rarely rushes into friendships or partnerships. He gives people time. Eventually, life places everyone in different rooms with different people, and that's when the masks begin to slip. While others are still impressed by appearances, the Sigma male has already noticed the pattern. He trusts consistency over charisma because he knows a stable character is far harder to fake than a charming personality. Number 7, he mentally archives broken promises forever. A Sigma male has a habit that many people never notice. He doesn't keep score over small mistakes, but he does keep track of patterns. Every broken promise, every excuse, every "I'll do it tomorrow" that never happens gets quietly stored in his mind. He doesn't bring it up in arguments, and he doesn't use it to embarrass people. He simply remembers. To him, words are easy. Anyone can make impressive promises when emotions are high or when they want something. The real question is whether those words survive when it's time to act. That's why he listens less to what people say and more to what they repeatedly do. The surprising part is that he often gives second chances, sometimes even third chances. But each chance comes with more observation, not less. If the same pattern keeps repeating, he doesn't become angry. He becomes certain. Once certainty replaces hope, his trust quietly disappears. This habit protects him from disappointment because he refuses to confuse good intentions with reliable character. He knows that consistency is built through repeated actions, not repeated apologies. People are often shocked when he finally distances himself. They think it happened suddenly because he never made a dramatic scene. What they don't realize is that the decision was made long before. Every broken promise had already been filed away, quietly building a picture that became impossible to ignore. By the time he walks away, he isn't reacting to one mistake. He's responding to a pattern that has spoken louder than words ever could. Number 8, he tests freedom before comfort. Most people make decisions by asking one simple question. Will this make my life easier? A Sigma male asks a different question. What will this eventually cost me? He knows that comfort often comes with invisible strings attached. A high-paying job may offer financial security, but quietly steal his time, independence, and peace of mind. A friendship may seem enjoyable until it slowly becomes one-sided. Even a great opportunity can turn into a trap if it demands that he sacrifice the values that matter most. That's why he doesn't get excited by appearances alone. He looks beyond the immediate reward and studies the long-term price. This habit often makes him seem slow to commit. While others jump at the first attractive offer, he takes his time. He's not afraid of missing out because he understands that not everything worth chasing is worth keeping. Freedom, to him, isn't just about doing whatever he wants. It's about protecting his ability to make choices without constantly depending on someone else's approval, money, or permission. He would rather live with fewer comforts than wake up feeling trapped by decisions he made too quickly. Many people don't realize they've traded away their freedom until they can no longer walk away. A Sigma male notices those warning signs early. He understands that the best decisions aren't always the ones that make life easier today. They're the ones that allow him to remain true to himself tomorrow. That's a freedom he refuses to bargain away. Number 9, he doesn't celebrate fast loyalty. Most people feel honored when someone becomes deeply loyal to them almost overnight. A Sigma male doesn't. Instead of feeling flattered, he becomes curious. He understands that real loyalty is built slowly through shared experiences, trust, and consistency, not through excitement or instant attachment. He has learned that people who rush into loyalty can sometimes rush out of it just as quickly. Someone who calls you their closest friend after a few conversations may be searching for validation more than connection. Someone who promises they'll always stand by your side before they've truly known you may be in love with the idea of you, not the reality of who you are. That's why a Sigma male never mistakes intensity for sincerity. He believes time is the greatest test of character. People reveal who they really are after the excitement fades, when disagreements happen, when life becomes ordinary, and when staying loyal is no longer convenient. He doesn't reject people because they are kind or enthusiastic. He simply refuses to confuse quick emotions with lasting commitment. Trust, in his eyes, is earned one decision at a time. Ironically, this patience often saves him from unnecessary heartbreak and disappointment. While others are swept away by grand promises and instant connections, he quietly watches whether actions continue to match words. He knows that true loyalty doesn't arrive with fireworks. It arrives quietly, proves itself repeatedly, and remains steady long after the excitement has disappeared. Number 10, he can spot artificial confidence within minutes. A Sigma male has learned that confidence isn't always what it appears to be. Some of the loudest people in the room are often the most uncertain. That's why he doesn't judge confidence by how boldly someone speaks, how expensive they dress, or how much attention they attract. He watches for something much harder to fake: consistency. He notices the person who constantly interrupts because they're afraid of being ignored. He notices someone who turns every conversation back to themselves because they need to feel important. He notices the person who brags about every achievement but becomes defensive the moment they're questioned. These aren't signs of confidence to him. They're often signs of someone trying to convince the world and themselves that they're enough. Real confidence behaves differently. It doesn't panic when someone else succeeds. It doesn't need to win every argument or dominate every room. It doesn't crumble when it isn't the center of attention. It stays calm because it has nothing to prove. This habit keeps a Sigma male from being fooled by appearances. He knows that charisma can be practiced, but genuine self-belief shows up in quieter ways. It's seen in how someone handles criticism, accepts mistakes, treats people who can't benefit them, and remains the same whether they're being praised or ignored. To him, true confidence is never the loudest voice in the room. It's the steady presence that doesn't change just because the audience does. And that's the kind of strength that can't be manufactured. It can only be lived. Number 11, he watches how people treat time they didn't pay for. A Sigma male pays attention to something most people never think about: how someone behaves when they believe nothing is at stake. It's easy to be respectful when there's a reward waiting or a boss watching. The real test comes when no one is keeping score. He notices the person who leaves a public place messy because someone else will clean it. He notices the friend who is always late but expects everyone else to wait. He notices the co-worker who wastes other people's time with excuses instead of simply being honest. These moments may seem small, but to him, they reveal something much bigger. Time is the one thing nobody can earn back. Money can be replaced. Opportunities can return. Lost time never does. That's why he believes respecting another person's time is one of the clearest signs of respect. Someone who constantly wastes it is quietly saying they value their own priorities more than yours. This habit also shapes how he lives. He doesn't make promises he can't keep or show up only when it's convenient. If he commits to something, he treats that commitment seriously because he understands that reliability is built through ordinary moments, not grand gestures. While most people judge character by impressive achievements, a Sigma male looks at everyday habits. He believes the little things are never really little. The way people handle moments they think don't matter often reveals exactly who they are when nobody is watching. Number 12, he studies emotional patterns like weather. A Sigma male has a habit that surprises people. He doesn't judge someone based on one emotional moment. Instead, he watches for patterns. He knows everyone has bad days, makes mistakes, and reacts emotionally from time to time. What interests him is what keeps happening over and over again. He notices who only reaches out when they need a favor. He notices who disappears when life becomes difficult, but suddenly returns when everything is going well. He notices who becomes jealous whenever someone else succeeds, and who only shows kindness after they've made a mistake. These aren't random moments to him. They're recurring patterns. That's because emotions have a rhythm. Just like the weather, they change, but they also repeat. A person who constantly creates drama rarely stops without changing themselves. Someone who repeatedly avoids responsibility usually continues that habit. A Sigma male understands that today's behavior often becomes tomorrow's pattern. This way of observing people keeps him from making decisions based on temporary emotions. He doesn't get carried away by one apology, one compliment, or one impressive act. He waits to see whether the behavior remains consistent over time. The result is that he is rarely shocked by people's actions. While others say, "I never saw that coming," he quietly remembers all the small signs that led to it. He knows that people often reveal their future long before they arrive there. The clues are almost always present, but only those who pay attention recognize them before everyone else does. We've reached the end, but here's the truth. These habits aren't about acting mysterious, staying silent, or trying to appear different from everyone else. They're about developing a mindset that values observation over reaction, consistency over attention, and wisdom over impulse. The habits you've seen today aren't easy to copy because they require patience, discipline, emotional control, and the willingness to think long-term when everyone else is chasing short-term rewards. What makes a Sigma male stand out isn't that he lives by a secret rule book. It's that he refuses to let the crowd decide how he should think, respond, or live. While many people spend years trying to change how others see them, he focuses on becoming someone whose actions speak louder than explanations ever could. That quiet approach may not earn instant applause, but over time, it earns something far more valuable: respect. Now it's your turn. Which of these habits surprised you the most, and which one do you think ordinary men struggle the hardest to copy? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your perspective. If you enjoyed this video and found value in it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss future videos packed with powerful insights like these. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.